Hey everybody, it's LaDonna Hale out here in Springfield, Oregon. Thank you so much for taking a minute to hop on this live. I wanted to just pop on here really quickly and just share a little bit of the journey that we are walking through, my youngest daughter, Sydney Hale, who is 22, and myself, and kind of where that started and where we are today. And we don't always share this piece of our journey because there are many pains that come along with Sydney's diagnosis with Crohn's disease. And I feel compelled. I used to be quiet about it because it's her journey, but it's very much my journey as her mom as well. And there is so much guilt that can come into play about how you may have been able to do things differently when it comes to the health of your child. And I'm dispelling that for you. I'm letting you know it's okay as a mama to release the guilt that you're feeling about how you may have been able to do something just a little bit differently in relation to maybe what's going on with you and your health journey, or your child's health journey, or a family member's health journey, because it's incredibly confusing, and there's so much information, and there are so many people that don't necessarily totally agree in the medical profession even about what to do to treat autoimmune disease. And I'm certainly by no means saying that I'm an expert at this, but I am sharing the pieces of our journey, and I'm going to do this more consistently on Thursday mornings. Pick this morning to share a little bit more consistently about the things that we've found as a family that are maybe would be helpful to you. So Sydney and I did a video about a week and a half ago, and we found a woman who directed us to a physician who is in the Clackamas area, or Hillsborough, I think. She's in the Portland area, which is very close to where we live in Oregon, but everything that this physician does is online. And so let me just take you through a little bit of our journey. I had my kids when I was 19 and 26 years old. I was a single mom. So as a single working mom who was the sole provider for my family, I was incredibly busy simply putting a roof over my kids' heads and feeding them, right? Feeding them. Making sure that they had the foods and the things to sustain the life that was healthy for us. And when I had Sydney, my youngest, she had digestive problems from the very beginning. And I'm educated, I'm a pretty smart woman, but I was busy, overworked, and very tired, and I really trusted medical professionals. And I'm not saying that medical professionals are not trustworthy, but I wasn't in a space that I had the intuition or the knowledge to be able to do things maybe a little bit differently at that time in our lives and our journey with this. Hi Lisa, thanks for hopping on. Hi Shannon, thanks for hopping on. So Sydney was a baby with digestive issues, and that just progressed. My breast milk bothered her. We tried alternative methods of milk sources, including goat's milk, that bothered her. We tried all kinds of different dietary things as she was young and still continuing to have digestive problems. And at one point, her pediatrician put her on a pretty heavy fiber that I just said, no, I'm opting out of that. And so through that whole process, we tried no dairy, we tried dairy, we tried going to allergists who didn't want to do blood allergy testing to test for allergens for her for food. It was really difficult for us to pull things out that to get to figuring out what the root of the problem is, right? I believe you figure out what the root is, you address the root of the problem, not just throw medications on top of things. And so then fast forward, we get to 13 years old, Sydney has some bleeding, we go to a gastroenterologist, we sort out that she's got Crohn's disease after having to do a colonoscopy. So fast forward, we've seen naturopaths, we've seen primary care physicians, we've seen physicians, and all the while Sydney's health isn't necessarily improving. She went out to work in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. She's been on Humira, she's been on steroids. We've done holistic and medical and tried to marry all of that, right? Tried to marry those things together, because I do believe that you need to be proactive about using medical care as it's needed. I'm not a proponent for saying that that's not necessary, because there are times when it's absolutely necessary, especially if you have a disease like Sydney's with a flare that is causing inability to digest food, inability to eat, and severe pain and bleeding. So Sydney went out to work in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. While she was out there, she got really sick. I ended up going out to get her to bring her home. She was seeing medical professionals. It wasn't working. Nothing was helping her. We get her home. We start doing this repair process. She goes on a heavy dose of steroids, and then they put her on a biologic, which is an infusion. And She's done 2, maybe 3 infusions. Yesterday we went in to see the clinic, and about 3.5 weeks ago her skin started severely breaking out. She's never had any skin issues through this whole process. Her hands, her feet, her head are breaking out. As a mom yesterday, I sat down and I prayed hard, and I said, God, give me some direction with this one, because I really just don't feel like I want her to be putting this drug into her system anymore. Meanwhile, because of our live video we did a couple weeks ago, we found a new alternative method for Sid to work with this physician out of Hillsboro, and that's starting. That's a private pay situation, and that's starting so we can get her health back in order. So I feel like we're on a really good path. So all of this is just really so that I just want to be very transparent. If you are out there and you are needing help, yell help, because we did. We put a live video up, and we were connected to a woman who I happen to be connected to through social media that I don't know personally, who has given us some direction based on the success her son, also with Crohn's in his early 30s, is having with this program. So here's my point, mamas. A one-size-fits-all bill of health for your health is not necessarily the appropriate choice. And I say this based on the need for paying closer attention to our physical, mental, and social well-being. And that absolutely gets ignored. I mean, so yesterday we sat down. We didn't do this biologic. We're making some shifts in our in Sydney's medical care here that will also work hand in hand with this program. But here's something that I want you to think about autoimmune disease. So if you're out there, you have an autoimmune disease, or you're just not quite feeling right, women have a higher rate of autoimmune than men. And what we're finding with this new program is that hormones and blood sugar levels are the top 2 problems that we don't address, that medically we don't test for, or we don't do enough inclusion testing that's paid for. You have to choose private pay to do this. It's really, so here's my advice to you. I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts of that. This may be a little controversial for some of you, because, you know, I do believe that we do trust our medical professionals, but I also do believe that we need to be a little bit more intuitive, because we were told by the gastro that the biologic wasn't causing the skin disorder Sydney has. We do have an appointment with a dermatologist, but it's very difficult to get in, so that's not until next month. Meanwhile, our hands are bleeding and cracked and getting severely more painful, all while she's been given a med for a bacteria and nothing's been cultured. So trust your intuition, trust your gut instincts about things, and don't just be so trusting with your health that you choose a one-size-fits-all plan, because even if you're well, the things that you need to be considering about your health, maybe it is that you need more supplementation. Maybe it is that, you know, there are many diets out there, eating plans that work great if you're needing some weight loss. I just think it's so important to be wise and intuitive and take the time to yell help maybe if you need a little bit of help. And the beautiful thing about social media is that there are so many people out there that if you're going through something and you throw that challenge or that struggle or that block out there, you may get dialed into someone that can truly, totally help you make some shifts around that will be appropriate for you. So some of the things that I think are important to pay attention to, whether you have an autoimmune disease or not, is one, again, hormone testing for females, as well as paying attention to your blood sugar levels. I mean, there's so many things that affect the health of our gut: food, medication, toxins. Maybe you've been on a round of antibiotics at one time. Spirituality, how you live your life as far as practicing your health and wellness mentally. What about your ability to relax? Are you testing your biomes? I mean, these are all things that affect your health that we don't talk about, or maybe we go and Google it and it's terrifying because there's so much misinformation out there, or maybe so much information out there that it can get really incredibly scary. So are you paying attention to your spirituality? Are you paying attention to your mental health? Are you connected to community? Those are questions to ask yourself to be in a state of total wellness. And really finding an integrated plan that works for you. So I hope this is helpful to someone that's out there. I hope you find value. If you are struggling with an autoimmune disease and you want to get dialed into what we're learning about through a woman I met online out of Portland who dialed me into a physician and an integrated program that we're working on currently, and as we progress through that, as Sydney progresses through that, I'll share how that's working for us. But if you do want to get dialed in and need a little bit of direction about some extra support or anything like that, please definitely reach out. We have been through lots of pain since Sydney was diagnosed at 13 and she's now 22. And so if I can provide value as a mama to another mama out there that is challenged with this, I'm absolutely happy to chat and help you with that. So please reach out. Have an awesome day and enjoy. Have some fun. I mean, that's one of the things that our family has really focused on this last year, is incorporating adventure and fun into our lives, because your spiritual presence is important to staying healthy with an autoimmune or just staying healthy as a healthy person. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.